In this video, I want to take a quick look at how to import Mixamo animations into Unreal Engine 5.6. If you're unfamiliar, Mixamo is an online platform acquired by Adobe in 2015. It's a tool for rigging and animating characters. You can import your own character and use the auto rigging tool to apply animations and add a skeleton to your character. Or you can use any of the existing default characters and export animations from Mixamo. So it's a pretty powerful tool to have access to. All the animations are free to use. So let's take a quick look. What we're going to do is I'm going to take a look at the characters. And as you can see, there's quite a list here. It's like 3 pages of characters that you can choose from. I'm going to be looking for the Ybot, which is what you see here. But if you were going to searching for that option, you could search Ybot here and then select that. And then we can go to animations. And then what I want to do is look for T-pose. And then we would select this option here. So we'll hit download. We'll leave the default settings here, and we'll just hit download. Okay. Once that's done, let me bring up Unreal Engine here. And what I'm going to do is, outside of my project folder under content, I'm going to create a new folder. Say Control-Shift-N, and I'll call it Mixamo. And then I'm going to create another folder called characters in there. Okay, so what I want to do is import the skeleton for the Ybot from that initial animation. So I'm going to drag that in, and then each of the future animations that we pull for that character, we won't need to import the skeleton. We can just import the animation itself. So let's see what that looks like real quick. So I need my content browser up. I'll drag T-pose, drop that in. And let's make sure we have all the settings correct here. Yep. Import skeletal meshes, we want to check. Okay. And then you make sure we also have materials, import materials in this case. If you were wanting to actually use the materials and the character itself, you would want to import the materials as well. So I checked that option, but in this case, I'm most likely we'll just be using the skeleton itself to retarget to our Manny character. But okay, so we have our materials, we have our animation, and we have our skeleton and our skeletal mesh here. So in here, let's go ahead and I'm going to create a new folder here. Let's call it animations. And then I'll drag our T-pose anim into there. I'll probably end up deleting that, but I want to show, I'm just trying to organize just a little bit. So let me hit Control-Shift-S to save all that. And then let's go back to Mixamo. And then let's search for some crouch animations. And I'm gonna do, let's see. This crouch walk looks pretty good. So we're gonna do that. I'm gonna check in place. So what you can do, you can mirror the animation so it swaps it around like so. Right now it's using a root motion animation, so the character is actually moving in the 3D space. But what I'm gonna do is hit in place so that it's not moving. We'll download that one. And then let's see, maybe an idle. Let's look for, here we go, crouching idle. Let's take that one. And that one's already in place because we're not moving, so we'll just hit download. Okay. All right, so we have those two animations. We'll go into our animations folder. I'm going to drag those in from File Explorer. And then in this time around, we can check this import only animations. And that should uncheck, let's see, import skeletal mesh, want to uncheck. And then materials, we'll want to uncheck materials as well. So we'll just be importing the animation itself. And I think that's all we need to do here. Oh, one more thing. We do need to select the skeleton. So we imported the T-pose skeleton. Now we know that's the skeleton for these animations. So we'll select that. And that will allow us to just import the animations for that skeleton. Okay, hit import. And there we go. Okay, I will go ahead and nuke the T-pose animation because we don't need that anymore. But now we have our crouch walk and our crouch idle. That looks pretty good. So in another video, we'll take a look at the retargeting process. If you have a character that is rigged to the epic skeleton. The Mixamo characters have a unique skeleton that differs from the epic skeleton, and so we have to go through the full retargeting process. But the nice thing is about Unreal Engine since 5.4, 5.3, 5.4 is they have a retargeting IK retargeter that automatically does or handles the retargeting process for you. So let's take a quick look at that. I'm gonna go here. Let's just select one of these animations and I'll hit retarget animations. And then we want our SKM Manny, is what we're looking for. So that's a UE5 mannequin. And then we can actually retarget these animations directly from this this wizard. As you can see, like we have the auto generate retargeter, so we don't need to manually create a retargeting asset. Previously in 5.4 or 5.3, I think you had to manually create this, but now it does it automatically. But what you can do is export that retargeting asset, and then you can reuse it. Or if you need to make adjustments, like if there's an issue with the retargeting when you auto retarget, you can export that. So I'm going to export. I'm just going to drop it into the root of the Mixamo folder there, just so we can take a look at that. Okay, so for each of the characters or skeletons that we were using, so we have the source and the target for the retargeting process. In here, you can bring this up and look at what's in there. But previously, you would have to go through and create these chains, these bone chains, manually. So you would select the spine, or name this chain spine, select the first spine bone, and then the last spine bone. And then for each of these chains that you want to define, you'd have to go through and do that. Now it handles that automatically, which is great. So let's pull up our generated retargeter. Close that content browser window. One of the first things I like to do is look at the target mesh offset. So you'll have asset settings and then details, and then target mesh offset. I like to drag it over on X just so that we can see both animations, or both characters animating side by side. And then I'll uncheck debug draw just so I can see if there's any irregularities. And then let's apply one of these animations. There we go. So as you can see, the animation's working pretty well. There doesn't look like there's any weird issues. In some cases, coming in from Mixamo, you might have some issues with the hands. Let's see if we can see one in this. Yeah, it looks all right. Not too bad. There's a slight variation on the right hand, but not too much. So, but if there was some issues, you may have to go in and make some adjustments to the IK retargeters. But in this case, it looks good. So you can retarget directly from the wizard, or you can generate the new animations from here. So I'm going to select both of these animations, and I'll just export them from here. And let's go to our actual project character, player character, animations, and I have a folder named RTG or retargeted _ Mixamo. I'm going to drop them in there. And let's add a prefix. Let's do a underscore. And we'll just hit. Okay. And now here's the path to that. So now we have the two animations retargeted to our mannequin skeleton, our Manny skeleton. And there we go. So now we have our Mixamo animations applied here.